All right, Russell. So, what do you call this instrument? That's the first question I have for you.
It is a...
It's not a synthesizer.
Well, it's funny because they call it a modular synthesizer, but basically you just put modules in. And I guess technically anything that is not, a real instrument would be a synthesizer. So
I see.
Most of the sounds in here, are just synthesizer type oscillators, but there's a couple of things that are more like this guy here that kind of sounds like a guitar in this song. It simulates like the striking of different materials and stuff like that, and puts them into like a sort of a... It's still a synthesizer, but it's like building it up like based on like the math of the shape of things and stuff like that. So it's like a kind of a different type. So that one...
Well, can I ask this question as well? Like, are these all customizable? Like these ports, like can you switch them out for different pieces?
Yeah, exactly. So like the pieces I have in here are a certain size, obviously, right? And
so this is custom. You put this together on your own.
Right, correct. Like you would buy this empty, and then you would choose pieces to go in, and in certain cases, right, there are actual gaps, right? Because
you're right.
They're not perfectly the right size because
they're different.
They're all different.
That's
cool.
So and then I don't know exactly how you came to choosing what to get, but I see that there's these wires connecting them, right?
Right.
So how are they interacting? What's going on between these?
Okay, so when you put these in, they're powered inside this box, but they're not in any other way connected to each other behind the panel. So anything that's doing anything to anything
is right in front of
your face, pretty much, other than the fact that, for instance, if like a box like this where you see there's a row of lights, that's like 8 channels of a sequencer, and you can make all these, you can make things behind the scenes that you don't realize, like it's so that's controlling, like for instance this guy's controlling a whole bunch of different things, and it might be something as simple as like one note going off, or it could be it's like sweeping something so that the note changes its shape or something like that.
Okay, now could you conceivably live rewire it on the fly or is that too unpredictable? If you did that, you wouldn't know what sound you'd have.
That's one of the really big challenges, because what I've noticed for people that do this elaborately live is they end up with a large system, so that whatever sound they need to draw, and they can just, it's already patched, right? Because like patching, it's pretty miniaturized in terms of the spacing of everything, right? There's not really a lot of room, so it just takes a while to come up with a patch. But if you want to use the same pieces in the same way, so if you want, like, this is my drums here, and it's always a drum, so I could conceivably leave this hooked up and make a bunch of songs back to back. I'm still kind of in a learning phase with some of it, so I've got the one song here, and I've been able to do that pretty much to my satisfaction, but it's still learning at this point.
So how does this machine interact with this? Because we've been talking all about this synthesizer. Obviously this is another synthesizer of some sort.
So
is this just a controller?
This is just a controller. So it's pretty funny, but
cool.
It makes absolutely no sounds of its own, and it's designed to just control.
Like a USB controller?
So it has different things. It has 2 MIDI, like it can control 2 MIDI, and then all these are hooked directly into this format, right? So all of these connections, you can, obviously if you did MIDI, you could control the whole device. If you had a bunch of devices in MIDI, you can chain them together.
Right.
But if you wanted to do it with this CV, the control voltage, which is just voltages going through, then this is the only thing out there that will do this kind of connection to a box like this.
So you've just assigned all of these controls to whatever you wanted them to do up here, or how do you even do? Well, I guess the wires. So.
Right. So if you went to like a certain track, right, and this is the drums, and there's the different tracks, but if you notice over here, it's changing, and that's because each track has a sequence. So like the sequence would be, certain steps that are going to play at a certain time, as it's going across. So you can notice that on the different tracks, there's individual lights, and those lights are the steps through the pattern. So, and you can,
so each one of these is a beat or an eighth note.
Or 16, whichever, right? And in this case, we're only hearing certain drums when I strike it because.
So this is the hi-hat, or wait, what the heck is that?
You're looking at the hi-hat right now.
Yeah.
But because there's probability, not every step's gonna gonna actually create a beat every time. So I can choose particular beats that I would rather be stronger, and I'll give them a full probability, and then other ones will just come out sometimes. So it kind of creates a more random pattern that feels more like a drummer.
Yeah. What are you trying to say? No.
We're trying to duplicate real drummers because real drummers are good. That's what I'm trying to say.
Real drummers are random.
Real drummers are random.
Yeah, this is okay. So one thing I'm understanding though is, what if you wanted to switch? So you could switch the hi-hat pattern with these buttons on the fly.
Absolutely.
Now, what if you can you switch to a different sample, so you can adjust like a different sample? Like, can you switch to the snare drum and?
Yeah. So the snare would be this guy.
Oh, I see. And then it just shows.
So when we're on the drum track, it just, by going to like each of the first 8 steps, we're controlling, and there's only 8 outputs for drums on here, so it's giving you 8 lanes of drums that can each have their own sequence. I wish that you could have them at different time scales. It's one thing that it can't do, because like if one of them was like quarter note pattern and another one was like 32nd or something, then you could get a lot more.
Right. So, but you're sort of, are you saying you're locked in your 4/4? You're locked in with this in whatever time signature you pick.
Not exactly. You can do polyrhythms. So each one of these, I was more the time division of the individual steps is what I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
But you can make each drum track a different length. So you could have like a snare drum track that's 7/4 or something, and then
right.
And then they'll also.
What
have
about different tempos?
Unique lineup.
No,
you can't. Actually, this thing is one tempo for the whole machine, so it definitely can't do that. And so
that's probably better. That's probably most music.
So then you'd have you can have a bunch of sequences, right? And then so switching to them is just as simple as like queuing up the one that you want to go to next,
really
and
cool.
then it'll switch over at the next pattern. It lets your hands go to something else.
So how do you keep from the rest of it setting on fire?
I don't know, actually. Like sometimes I'm reaching into this gaggle of wires, and I wonder, but it's fine. It hasn't really done anything to me.
Good.
You can grab the ends of the wires. Like there's obviously not a lot of voltage coming through them. If you want to do like a weird thing.
You could actually, you could use your own body voltage to like control stuff.
Yeah, I actually saw.
What do you even have this for? You just use your thumbs on the end of these things.
I know. I saw this video where this lady, she was into this stuff, and she was pregnant, and she hooked it up to her stomach, so the baby was actually manipulating the synthesizer.
Yeah. So
that was cool.
The baby should get copyright.
I guess technically it's a fetus, not a baby.
Oh.
I don't know. I guess it's only a baby after birth. I don't know. Like, what do I know? So, yes.
Anyway,
what else do you want to know?
Okay, so there's one last thing that's kind of been, which I don't quite understand. I know you were explaining this earlier, but I didn't quite get it. What is going on with these row of lights?
So with these row of lights, it's basically a bunch of outputs that are based on the harmonic series. So like, it would be like root, octave, fifth. I don't know if it goes to major third above or something, like a ninth at that point.
Okay.
But anyway,
so you switch like a pitch knob to
what
change the rate?
What actually happens is there's a knob for if you're going overtones or undertones. So if you go to undertones, it's like, I think it's a minor, like undertones are minor.
Okay.
When you go down from the note in the harmonic series. So you can either make basically major or minor chords if these are cycling fast enough to actually make audible sound.
I see.
But you can also cycle them super slow so that you can like modulate things using things in a harmonic relationship.
This is getting too complicated.
Right? And also imagine that you had harmonically related outputs moving at a sound rate, and then you modulated something. You'll create an overtone on top of the sound, right? Because you're going to modulate it at pitch, like a pitch speed, right?
That's really cool. So you must spend a lot of time just experimenting. Like, I wonder how this
Yeah.
is going to affect this, and then
I definitely wouldn't say I've mastered any of this equipment really. I kind of just.
Well, can you really master it?
I
like
don't
you
think so.
What would be a mastery of this? To the point where you're on stage unplugging.
Well,
plugging stuff
I mean,
in?
I still, you're really only mastering what you want to do with it, really, right? You're never really truly mastering
That's
the
true.
equipment.
Sounded pretty masterful.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great, and I want to hear more.
I'll definitely do more. I'll do more. I
Come
just
back.
got to work on it. Thanks, man.